Hello everyone and welcome to this YouTube video that is going to show you the basics of using Trello and all the different features that you have available on a board. So we're going to show you on a board similar to this how you can get things such as your images, labels, checklists, how you can do labeling, custom fields and so much more. So make sure to watch the video. If you do like it, please make sure you subscribe, leave us a comment, and all of that will help us keep getting content like this to you. And if there is something you want to know about Trello, but it's not covered in this video, please leave it in the comments and we'll make sure to get a video out for you. Trello right now might seem overwhelming, or how do you actually use it and what are the basics of Trello? So what I want to do is I want to show you the very basic things that you can do on a board inside Trello, just so you understand what all the different features actually are. So I've just set this board up, as you can see it's called test board, just so that I can actually go through with you the different parts of these and how you use them. So at the top here we can see I've got these columns. So can you see these columns here? In Trello, these are called lists, but if you want to call them columns, call them columns. You do what makes it easier for you. And as you can see, these columns are draggable, so we can move them around and rearrange them. And what you can see here, you can add more. So it says add another list, so you can add more on. So if I press add another list, I could just start writing one out. So I could put information. There we go. So we can see there that it's created that, and I can drag this wherever I want to drag it. So this is a different ways of organizing it. So obviously if you've got a board that's a CRM, for instance, your columns may be something such as inquiry, call booked, code, quotation, pending work, you could have them. If you're doing something like a to-do list, you could do something like this. So to do, doing, done. If you're going to have like a dashboard of all information for your business, you might have one that says financials, social media, goals, clients, you could have various different things. So it's up to you what you create, and you can create these, you can rename them. So let's just say we want to change done to completed. I can just click on it and I can just rename it to completed. So these are the lists. Otherwise, you can call them columns if it makes it easier to understand. Now, what you can see here, I've got this here. Now, this is called a card. So how Trello works is that we use cards for various different things. So you can see we can drag this along to different places if we want to. And then it's got various different things on it, which I've set up. So first up, before we go through these, I'm just going to show you how we create a card. So to do that, you would go to a column you want to create a card in, press add a card, and you'd enter the title for it. So this could be send weekly email. There we go. So when it's created like this, as you can see, it just looks pretty basic. It is just a line in a white box and we can drag it along. It doesn't look like this where it's got this checklist. It's got another little checklist item here and this little bit here. So what these are is this is a label. So you can set labels up for various different things. So for instance, when I've got a client board, I have different labels such as the people involved in the project. So I might have Alex, Laura, Tamara as labels. But then I also have a label that says waiting on customer, a label that says waiting on testing or anything like that. And what that does, it means that when I'm looking at this, I can easily just look at this label to see what some information about it. So for instance, if you've got a CRM, you might have the labels such as forward required or email sent, different things that you can see this data straight away. So how you set these labels up, you can do them in various ways. So one way is if you're actually on a card, so I've just clicked on this. So I just do that again. I just click on it and it opens up. You can see labels here on the right-hand side. So I can click labels and I can create one. So if I wanted this green one to say completed, for instance, I can type that in. I've got the color selected as green and I can press save. And now you can see that's there. So if I click on completed, we can see now that it's got the green label on. You can also create a label by going to show menu on the right hand side. And then you can see again the exact same that you saw earlier. So let's just say that I want this orange to say Alex as a member of staff, for instance. And then I can press save, and there we go. We've got Alex. And then if you'd actually populate all these labels, you can just press create a new label at the bottom, and you can choose another one. So you could have multiple ones, the color orange, for instance. So let's just, there you go. So you can see we've got multiple ones of the color orange, and that's how you can do it there. You can also do it by right-clicking on a card and pressing edit labels. And again, you get the same bar come up. So they can have multiple labels on. So for instance, this could have the label Laura and completed on it, for instance. So this is how you can basically start customizing these cards out. And when you click on it, you can obviously see the labels at the top as well. And obviously you can see the labels down here. Now, other things you can do, if we click back on this card, you can type in a description. So you can put, send the weekly email for IT Moon. So you could go as far down as you want in this. Like you can even go bold. So if you can either hold Control B and it'll do this, that makes it bold, or you can just type it out. So you do 2 stars, type it out, 2 stars, and you can press save. And then there you go, you've got, it puts it in bold. So if you're actually on there and you press format and help, it does give you some information as well of how you can do stuff like lists and links, etc. But don't worry about that. If you do put a link in, it'll automatically do the URL anyways, so that's perfectly fine. And so if now we click on here, you'll see now it's added this bit here where it's got these lines, and that means that card has a description. So when you go into it, you can easily open it up. So if I just show you one again, that's just connect to 10 people on LinkedIn. As you can see, that's not got it on. So that's when this comes on. So again, if we go back into here, you can also do a checklist. So if we go into checklist here, you can create a checklist. So we can say send weekly email. I'm just going to call it the weekly email checklist. And I'm going to press add. If I did have a previous checklist, I can actually copy it from it. So if I'm just going to click it actually just to show you. And what you can see is copied something from a previous checklist that's already been created, which helps when you're creating things like templates. And also we can just delete them off like that. So when you do create one and you've typed in the name and pressed add, it'll do this here. And we can see weekly email and it says add an item. So I can put login, active, campaign, create a campaign using weekly email template, test email, send to a regular email list, like that. So now what we can see is this now says 0 out of 4. So that means there's 4 items on the checklist and 0 has been done. So if I ticked 1 off, it changes it to 1 out of 4. We can also put due dates on these. So let's just say we're going to go on this and we're going to say that this is due by tomorrow at 4 p.m. So we're just going to put 1600. And what you can do, you can set a reminder up so that a reminder gets sent if you want to set one up. I don't send reminders out to myself because it just be constantly going off. So I just make sure I use my board and you just press save. So as you can see now, we now have a due date. So if we click off, again, you can see the due date here. And the good thing about it is, say you've finished this, you can actually tick that off and now it shows that it has completed. And in another video, I'm actually going to show you how we actually create some automations around this as well. So other features that we've got on a card, so if we just open this back up, you've got this bit here that says members. So if you actually have multiple usernames, so say you've got a team of 4 people and you've got a username for each people, you can assign different people to it. And what it would do, so if I click IT Moon, it shows me there TW and we can see that I'm a member of this board. So then when someone was filtering cards, so at the top here, you've got a filter. If someone clicked that, they could say, just show me the cards that are assigned to me. And as you can see, it's only showing you the cards that are assigned to me. You can do things as well, such as show me the tasks that are due in the next day, which is going to be on. We can do due in the next week, next month. So these are all due next month, 9th of September. We can set marked as complete, not marked as complete, You know, you can filter and by labels. So this is a really handy tool that not many people actually use, but it actually can come quite handy. And you can search by keywords. So if you wanted anything like that, email in, there you go. So I use this a lot for when we're doing social media planning as well for clients. We use the filter because it just makes things easier. So I'm just going to press the cross on this and it's going to clear the filters off. Again, if we just click on this, we've also got the attachment. So you can attach things to this. So if I just go to my drive, I'm just going to literally attach a random image. I'll just go to my media. When everything loads, there we go. We're just going to bring that one in. So if I attach an image, it now makes it look like this, the card. So I can see the image preview here, and then it makes it obviously look a lot different, doesn't it? It makes that card look a bit better. But if you didn't want that there, you just click on it, and then at the top here, you've got a cover. So if you've got a cover, you can choose to make it like this. So it sends it like a grey background over across the text. You can choose to just remove a cover. So if I press remove cover, it's no longer got a cover, but the image is still attached. You can attach documents. You can attach anything you want, really. You can attach away zip files, etc. You can set your cover to a color. So if I set like green, for instance, you can see now that it looks like this. So Tamari, my team, loves to make her cards all look like this. They all have colours on all her tasks, and that's how it helps her manage her tasks. You can also change your covers so that they do have a colour, so green, but it's not a full colour. So what I mean by that is you've got a green line at the top, and then obviously you've got this here. So you can use the covers to what you want. You can use them to help you organise things. You can use them if you want to actually make things look nicer, etc. So I'm just going to change this cover to the actual attachment again. Obviously, you can do photo covers as well that are already in there. They use Unsplash Trello, so you can get images from Unsplash. So right, there we go. Other things that we can do, so if we just click back on this card, you can create custom fields. So on custom fields, if you click on it, what you can do is you can set up new fields. So you could say, this is going to be a field saying client. It's going to be a text field, and we're going to show it on the front of the card. So if you're doing work for clients, then you can type in just for IT Moon, and it'll show on that. I could say that this is for another client, so I'm just going to put my other business, and it shows on there. So you can create custom fields on that as well. We've got power-ups, which I'm not going to go into depth on this one because that's a bit more advanced, and automation buttons, a bit more advanced. But what you've also got, if you don't want to drag things, you can press move, but you can also move things to other boards. If you've got other boards set up, you can basically use other boards, send them to different boards without having to copy and things like that. If you're on paid plans, you can make things templates. You can archive them. So if you press archive, so I'm just going to create a card to actually archive. If I press archive on this, it says at the top, this card is archived and it's not on my board. So where has it actually gone? So if you press show menu on the top right, then we just go back because I'm still in the labels. You can see this section here that says archived items. So if you click on that, you'll be able to see all the items that have been archived. And if you press send to board, it'll send it back to where it was. So that's where your archive is. And I believe this is pretty much everything. Yep, copy. So if I pressed copy, and I could say, right, I want you to say connect to some people on Instagram. So I'm copying it because it's just much easier that way. I want you to put it in the doing list on the task board, and I want you to put it to position 3. Press create card. So now if I click off this, we can see connect to 10 people on Instagram has been put there. So that's basically the basics of the card and how you can basically flesh them out. Remember, you can move them along as much as you want. That's no problem. And so we've covered the labels, we've covered due dates, checklists, etc. Now, just one more thing I want to show you is the menu bar on the right-hand side. So if we press show menu, just go back to it. So on here, you can see settings. If you go into settings on here, you can change the workspace. Generally, you just only have one. You can choose if you want to have card covers enabled. So if you don't want it to keep putting this as like a cover when you upload an image and things, you can just disable that if you want to. And then you've got stuff such as your permissions. Again, we've already gone through labels, we've gone through archived items, and then you've got email to board settings. So here you've got an email address where if you actually send an email to this, it would create a card out of it. So for instance, if you wanted to forward an email to that, then it would create a card out of it. But we're not going to cover that in much depth on this one. You've got watch. So if you press watch here, it'll make sure that it does notify you and things like that. You've got the copy board. So if we wanted to copy this board and use it as a template and make it easier, we can press copy board. We'd give it a name. We can choose to keep the cards or not, and it would create another board for us. And the print and export is exactly as it says, that you could press print and it would bring up a preview of this board like this. So let's just say, let's change it to landscape. Doesn't make much difference actually. You can see what's under to do, doing, done. So if you wanted to print off your to-do list, for instance, you could easily print your to-do list off as well. And then here you've got a link to the board. So if you was linking it to anyone else, you can easily link them to it through there. So that's the basics of the Trello board. Of course, we've got more things we can cover, such as power-ups and automations, which I will do in another video. One last little tip I will say is you've got this little star. So if you star it like that, then when you ever go to your menu bar and start, the starred ones show first. So we always start our client boards that we access all the time, every day, so that we can get them at the top of the list. And that's what that star basically does. And if you did want to rename the board, you just type where it says task test board and you can just delete it and type in and rename it. And if you want to ever share the board, you would press share here. And then you type the details of who you want to share this with. If they're not a Trello user currently, they can still get the shared link. They'll just be asked to sign up for an account when they get the link. That's all. And that's pretty much it. So there we have it. You have your Trello board all set up. We've got different columns, otherwise called lists. We've got cards. And each card we know how to personalize with labels, checklists, due dates, images, etc. And we know how to use the filter system, the menu system, how to share, and how to favorite a board to make it easier to find. So I do hope you found this video educational and you learned something new about Trello that you might not have known before. Make sure to check out our other Trello videos where we're going into further details on things such as dash cards, automations, power-ups, and so much more. But if you do want to learn more in-depth things or have access to me and my brain basically on a daily basis, make sure to check out the thrivebusinessacademy.com, where I have tons and tons of in-depth training on things that cover more than just Trello. We're talking things such as creating your own website, doing email marketing, working on social media. We've got template boards for things such as social media, Trello boards, and so much more as well. So if you want to check that out, that is over at thrivebusinessacademy.com. But otherwise, please make sure you share the video with anyone you think might like it. Subscribe, leave us a comment, any questions you've got on it. Again, pop that into the comments and have an amazing day, everyone.